Welcome to the Raging Takes podcast with your hosts, Brian Dixon, Kai Zabo, and Dylan Peters.
What up, you turkeys? Welcome to episode 126 of the Raging Takes podcast. Today is Tuesday, November 26, 2024. I'm your host, Brian Dixon, joined as always by my co-hosts, Kai the Commissioner Zabo and Dylan Peters. Happy Thanksgiving, fuckers.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, thanks for giving thanks for Thanksgiving.
Okay, sure. It's the Thanksgiving episode of the Raging Takes podcast. Obviously, we will not have an episode before the Thursday and Friday games this week, so we will be going over all three Thanksgiving games and the Black Friday game as well. Dylan's got He Hate Me, I think. You got He Hate Me today?
Yeah.
Okay, He's got He Hate Me. Yep. We're gonna go over the Week 12 games and. What was it? I just lost my train of thought. Oh, and we're doing the Pick Your Turkey. We're a new segment. We're going to get to it in a second, though. We're going to start, as always, with the raging question of the day. Where do you view Saquon Barkley in the MVP race after Sunday Night Football? He's currently projected for 2,500 scrimmage yards and 18 touchdowns. I mean, the game against the Rams... that, especially at being on primetime too, I think that's going to give him some votes for sure. We'll see how he finishes out the season. But I definitely think that game is going to be on a lot of voters' minds and stuff like that. So I think he'll get votes. I still think it's more skewed towards quarterbacks. So I would be kind of shocked if a quarterback, at this point at least, I'd be kind of shocked if a quarterback didn't win still. But Saquon still has plenty of time to catch up to like Lamar and Josh Allen, whoever else. So it's definitely possible. I'm not ruling it out, but like I wouldn't bet on it right now at the very least. How do you feel about it, Kai?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's literally right there, right behind Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. You cannot convince me as an Eagles fan. Like, I just feel it in my bones. The Eagles would be a 4 or 5 win team without Saquon Barkley this year. I know the defense is playing lights out, but man, Saquon is the engine of that offense. And let's say he gets 2,000 rushing yards because he's on pace for that. He's on pace for 2,100 rushing yards right now, actually. And say the Eagles win out a significant amount of the remaining amount of their games this year. Saquon's going to be kind of hard to deny at that point, right?
No.
I understand it's still probably going to go to a quarterback at the end of the day, but
I mean, it's like Lamar's playing so well still too. I don't know. I don't for running backs too. I don't know if winning is as big of a factor as quarterbacks. Am I wrong with that? Like, I don't, obviously like a 6 seed running back isn't winning MVP, but like just because the Eagles have a good record, I don't know if that's going to add to Saquon's case. The scrimmage yards and the touchdowns obviously will, though.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is if we were considering Derrick Henry not too long ago, then why not Saquon as well? You know?
Yeah. I mean, Derrick Henry's stats are pretty good too, though.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, they're probably right next to each other.
I think if it wasn't for Jalen Hurts and the tush push, Saquon Barkley would be firmly in the MVP race because he would probably have 16 touchdowns right now instead of 10.
Yeah, how many does Jalen Hurts have?
He has like 12 rushing touchdowns or some shit like that, dude.
It's double digits already.
It's nuts.
11.
All right, so the way I'm looking at it is I wanted to know the other night, Lamar Jackson's threw 3 picks. I went on YouTube and I looked up Lamar Jackson interceptions, right, this year. All 3 of them have hit his receivers' hands before they've been picked.
Classic.
He has thrown no picks, in my opinion. He's thrown 0 interceptions, in my mind.
So how many does he have?
3.
He only has 3 all year?
He has 27 passing touchdowns, 3 picks. None of them have been his fault.
Saquon's not winning MVP. unless he just completely shatters those numbers. I don't see him winning MVP over Lamar.
Yeah, and Lamar Jackson, he's got rushing wise, his yardage is up there. His touchdowns are up there. Like, he's not really having to do too much, but he's playing like a perfect season. And this already is one of his best seasons, and it's only going to get possibly better. I think Saquon's only chance of winning MVP is rushing for 2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns on the ground, and Lamar Jackson probably has a rough December. I could see Saquon sneaking in then, but if Lamar Jackson just keeps pace right here, he's going to throw for 4,000 yards, somewhere in the 30 touchdowns and less than 10 picks. And the Ravens are probably going to be in running for like the 1 seed in the AFC. And I don't see a running back taking that from him, especially that's going to make him a 3-time MVP, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the biggest detriment to Saquon is his own team, is his own scheme of the tush push. He could break an NFL record for rushing touchdowns this year if he had the chance.
I wasn't like necessarily I don't have Saquon anywhere this year. I wasn't staying away from him necessarily, but like the tush push definitely worried me. So
yeah,
and honestly, it was a good worry. Like it has cut into his projection or his total, but at the same time, he's just been so like ungodly that it doesn't really even fucking matter. But yeah, he would be going absolutely nuclear if Jalen Hurts, like if he had just had a pocket passer quarterback, like like a Peyton Manning or something, like obviously not Peyton Manning, but I mean, just even, like a pure pocket passer, he Saquon I think would be having a way better season.
Oh, for sure, because even just the offensive line alone grants him so many opportunities to succeed.
But with that being said, if they weren't tush pushing all the way down the field, they wouldn't be going for it on 4th and 1 sometimes too. They'd start punting. And maybe the drives wouldn't continue for Saquon to get more yards and touchdowns too. Yeah. So maybe it balances out. Yeah. So,
which is crazy because Saquon is on pace he's already rushed for more yards in his career than in one season than ever. Like he's already eclipsed his best rushing yardage. He's going to eclipse his carrying total. Most likely this dude's going to be like 400 fucking touches this year. So that to me, like he's having a great fantasy season this year. But I would warn you for next year, there's that 300 rushing, like 300 carry curse. So like he's going to be good this year, but look at the guys in the past, Yeah. Like they're really crapping out Saquon and the rest of that team for a Super Bowl this year, and you could tell.
It's almost going to be worth the risk though again, That's just like how good Saquon is though.
Yeah, that's true. He's
okay. A good guy. Let's get to the new segment, Thanksgiving segment. Pick your turkey. Great minds think alike, Kai. So each of us are going to name who we think is going to be the highest scoring player on Thanksgiving or Black Friday. I know there's a lot of Raiders to choose from for that Black Friday game. But yeah, the Black Friday game's up for grabs too if you guys want to do it. Let's start with Kai.
So for my turkey, I am going with Jahmyr Gibbs against the Chicago Bears. I know Monty is highly in consideration too because we've seen how bad the Bears' run defense has been. But I just think against the Bears' run defense, which yields a lot of explosive plays, I think Gibbs, the home run hitter, is the one that you want to go with in this game. I think he'll be the highest scoring player of the weekend. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay. Dylan?
We really should have revealed these before. It was a dumb idea not to. That was my pick, was Jahmyr Gibbs.
I thought it was Monty.
I thought it was Gibbs, but I wasn't sure.
I always talk about how those scat backs fuck up the Bears' defense every single time. He's basically Aaron Jones on steroids.
Shit.
And Dan Campbell just said that David Montgomery's fired up to play the Bears too. So
I don't think it's an issue that we have the same. I don't think it's an issue we have the same one.
Just pick someone different. I was going to pick one. I knew Dylan was going to pick a Lions running back. I didn't think Kai was going to, but I knew Dylan was going to. And my strategy was whatever one Dylan doesn't pick, I was going to pick the other one. I won't do that anymore though. But
I didn't really think about it past Jahmyr Gibbs because he was my only thought there. Yeah.
Well, if you don't pick Monty, I'm picking Monty. So
I think I don't know. It's a real toss up.
Well, pick one.
I'll go with Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs? Okay, I'll go David Montgomery. If you would have gone Monty, I would have gone CeeDee Lamb. But yeah, definitely. I think Gibbs is the safest bet for sure. But I think Monty, with the revenge factor in mind, and just like the comments that Dan Campbell said yesterday, that he was fired up to play Chicago, I'll take the chance on Montgomery.
Yeah, Monty was second for me, followed by CeeDee Lamb. So
cool. Yeah, just no consideration for the Black Friday game whatsoever. No Noah Gray guy. No Noah Gray to interest you.
That is an interesting one. Yeah, he's seen some usage in that offense.
Oh, we'll talk about him later. Okay, so Gibbs for Kai, Jacobs for Dylan, Monty for me. He hate me?
He hate me. Yeah.
First one, Kai. Yeah. Kai hate me for picking Jahmyr Gibbs. Dylan took that very personal. It's just a game. The winner doesn't get anything.
I said off air. It doesn't matter if we have the same one.
For continuity, we should have talked about it before. Anyways,
if you get mad, just look at Tubby's cute little foot, and you'll feel better.
Yeah, I hate him too. Okay, so wow. So we got he hate me. I'm gonna clump a bunch of guys together, and you guys could take a couple guesses at why the fuck they hate fantasy football players in general. You ready for this? He hate me. This is the episode 126 version. It's gonna be a little different. Okay. What do all these guys have in common? James Conner, Jonathan Taylor, Quentin Johnston, Ramondre Stevenson, Deebo Samuel, and David Njoku. What do they all have in common?
No touchdowns.
They play for bad teams.
Yeah, they all got outscored by Will Lutz. Combined. James Conner 9.9 points. Jonathan Taylor 3.5 points. Quentin Johnston 0 points. Ramondre Stevenson 3.3 points. Deebo 3.3 points. David Njoku 3.9 points. Roughly less than Will Lutz 22 fucking fantasy points.
Goodness.
All of those NFL players got basically outscored by a kicker. That means that you would have lost to a guy who forgot to start an entire lineup except for a kicker if you had all these guys on your team, which is horseshit. And during this time of the year, whenever we're all pushing for the playoffs, these are all starters. These are all starting players, dude. These are all guys that were on lineups. Then you know what? James Conner, 7 carries, 8 yards. Still squeezed out 9.9 points. Not exactly what you want. Jonathan Taylor playing the Lions, 11 carries, 35 yards. Are you fucking out of your mind? He's your best player on offense. He's your best player on offense.
Good defense and a bad quarterback. I'm sure the Lions were kind of like stacking the box against them. That was predictable in my opinion.
He got 11 carries. Would have loved to have seen 12. Quentin Johnston dropped all 5 passes against the Ravens, dude. What the hell's going on, dude? Maybe it's all true. Maybe you can't.
He literally dropped all 5?
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw he had 5 targets and 0 catches.
I
didn't watch the game, so I don't know. I know he had a couple drops because Twitter was just bitching about it constantly yesterday, but I didn't know he dropped all 5.
I think it's true. He can't catch the ball unless he's square. Like he's catching it from a juggling machine. He stinks. Ramondre Stevenson, sorry, bud. You're not getting your contract bonus for all those yards and shit. You stink. Deebo Samuel, you'll be playing for somebody else next year. Nobody really fucking likes you on your own team, dude. What's going on? David Njoku, dude. Sorry you played the Steelers. Jameis Winston's your quarterback. It's going to be good. It's going to be bad. But there's absolutely no world that I want to live in where all of these guys get outscored by a kicker with a last name with 1 syllable.
The thing is, though, I picked up Will Lutz in a league this week. I dropped my previous kicker for him because I thought he had a good, the Raiders in Las Vegas in that nice stadium. I was just like, Will Lutz is going to. I didn't think he'd score 22, but I was pretty confident Will Lutz was going to have a banger game this week.
Yeah, what are we going to do, dude? I feel like all of the years and all of the practice and all the struggle and all the efforts and just blood, sweat, and tears I put into fantasy football, it's all getting fucking. It's like the fantasy universe is tilted my neck back, held my mouth open, and took a big fucking fat steamy dog shit in it, dude. And there's nothing I could do about it. I went 0 for 5 in fantasy football leagues last week, dude. I went 0 and 5. I think I've won 2 games in the last 3 weeks, dude. I feel like shit. That's why I've been wearing these glasses for a couple weeks, dude. I feel like scum.
0 and 5. We call that the Quentin Johnston.
Hold on. Oh, it's not working.
We took out Badum Tiss, dude?
I did not take it out. It's a default.
You took Badum Tiss out, dude.
It's a default.
There we go.
I didn't even make a noise.
It's a default. All right.
And I'm
Do you hate me? Oh, are you done? Are you not done?
oh, stick a fork in me, dude. I'm done.
All right. He hate me week 12, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to the standings update now. So Dylan still in the lead, 113 and 66. 113 and 66 for DP. He went 9 and 4 on the week, the best of the three of us. Kai is second place, still at 108 and 71. He went 6 and 7 this week, the worst of the three of us. And I'm at 103 and 76. I went 8 and 5. So picked up a couple games on Kai. Still 5-game lead for you, though, on me, Kai. And Dylan now has a 5-game lead on you. So
it was a bad week for me.
It sure was. I think when I was doing this, at one point, I think you were like 1 and 6. It's not like you just kept losing all the early games, I want to say, if I remember correctly, and you bounced back at the end. Okay. First up, Ravens 30, Chargers 23. I said you guys are going to have to carry the load on this one because I didn't see this game at all. Lamar 16 for 22, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. Derrick Henry dominant on the ground, but did not get a touchdown. He went 24 for 140 against the Chargers D too. Those are great numbers against the Chargers. Justice Hill scored a touchdown, 4 for 55. Mark Andrews had a touchdown as well, 5 for 44. Rashad Bateman another touchdown, 2 for 43. Zay 5 for 62. Herbert 21 to 36, 218, and a rushing touchdown. The rushing touchdown happened on the opening drive, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Dobbins 6 for 40. Then he left with an injury. Status up in the air as far as I know. I haven't really heard an update about him yet. Gus Edwards came in 9 for 11 and a touchdown.
I was just going to say, so in Sleeper right now for fantasy football, he's currently listed as out.
Okay. Well, that doesn't update until after the waivers run.
True.
So we'll have to see about that. They don't play Thursday, right? No, they don't. Okay. Where did I leave off here? Ladd McConkey 6 for 83, and then Huge 0 catches on 5 targets, apparently 5 drops. So where do you guys want to start here? First off, I want to say I didn't watch the game, but it's pretty obvious. Even though Gus 9 for 11 a touchdown, that's terrible numbers. Gus Edwards would be a top tier waiver pickup this week, depending on what J.K. Dobbins' injury looks like. We won't know before waivers run, so I would grab Gus Edwards personally and just see what happens. If Dobbins plays, then do whatever with him. But it's worth the risk right now. But go ahead, Kai. What did you think about this game?
I mean, it was pretty A-class effort on the Ravens' part. You know, Derrick Henry, his usual dominant self. I just really wanted him to get a touchdown. I would have won my fantasy game. So that was pretty hurtful, especially when I saw Justice Hill break off the big one too. So I was like, damn. The Mark Andrews touchdown catch, really sick too, by the way. Something I've learned with the Chargers, though, now, I mean, if you can stop their run game, you can beat this team. This team needs to be balanced in order to succeed. I think Herbert was personally asked to do too much once the run failed, and it was probably a big reason why they lost this game.
Tell you why they lost this game. It was Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, I mean, he was dropping some crucial third down catches, just like drive extending catches as well,
He killed those drives. He was basically he looked like the guy that we were disappointed in last year. I got to tell you, man, the Ravens look efficient. They look good. Lamar is playing still super athletically. Like, he's still able to run the ball, but he's not asked to do it as much. I mean, Derrick Henry, even though he didn't get in the end zone, 24 carries, 140 yards, he really wore down that front seven. And Khalil Mack had something really, really funny to say. He goes, Oh, it's not that hard playing against them. Really? Really? We'll see. We'll see about that.
You said about Lamar?
No, he
Henry?
said that about Derrick Henry. He said it's not that hard to
Jesus.
play against him. We'll see you again. And I'm like, dude, he cranked your defense for 140 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
What do you mean he's not that hard to play against? If you could, he was rushing for like 5 yards a carry, you know. But Rashad Bateman has been really good for them this year. Caught another touchdown, and it's just like everybody's doing their part for the Ravens, and I think this is how they need to play football. They can't zero in on Lamar playing hero ball or Derrick Henry getting all the carries. They need to involve Justice Hill. They need to involve Rashad Bateman. They need to involve like some of their other playmakers on offense to keep the defense spread out. And I got to tell you, man, the Chargers just didn't look good. Like this game was not as close as the score says. Like it really wasn't that close of a game outside the first quarter, in my opinion. And I got to say, man, it's going to be hard to beat the Ravens going into like December and early January.
Patrick Mahomes is like, hold my beer.
Oh, yeah. We'll see.
I'll do that shit again. Yeah, we'll see for sure. Yeah, we'll see for sure. Okay, moving on. Eagles 37, Rams 20. Obviously, we already talked about Saquon, but 26 for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground, 4 for 47 through the air. No Eagles player has ever had 250 plus yards rushing or 300 scrimmage yards in one game until this game. Jalen Hurts 15 of 22, 179 yards and a touchdown. AJ Brown, the lone notable Eagles wide receiver. Devontae Smith obviously did not play. AJ went 6 for 109 and a touchdown. Brandon Graham, it was announced after the game that he suffered a season-ending triceps injury, so that's a pretty big loss to that defense. 2 tackles and a sack in this game, and he's like an emotional leader too. He's always out there talking shit. Rams, Stafford was solid, 24-36, 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kyron has his first rushing touchdown since week 7, 16 for 72 and a touchdown. And then the 2 wide receivers for the Rams, Puka 9 for 117, and then Kupp 8 for 60, and had a garbage time touchdown with like a minute left, which I'm sure lost some people some fantasy games. Demarcus Robinson 2 for 15 and a touchdown as well. After the game, he got arrested too. I haven't read about it, so I don't want to talk about it too much. I don't know the details or anything like that, but I think he got a DUI. So I don't know if he's going to get suspended or something like that, but I would assume his status for this week is potentially up in the air. I don't know if you're really playing him anyway. Actually, honestly, he's good when Puka and Kupp are in the game, but I digress. How did you feel about this game, Kai? I don't go too much into Saquon since we already talked about him a little bit. You could talk about him a little bit, but how did you just feel about the team as a whole?
Well, I mean, the Vic Fangio defense, man, they've been putting in so much work since the bye week. Like, I really love the way that the Eagles have been playing defense lately. The way that Vic Fangio just schemes up the defense. It's like they weathered the storm and then they contain it and then nothing else afterwards. You know, it's like they'll take some hits in the beginning and then they just stop it and then the offense just completely outscores at that point. But the Brandon Graham injury, man, that stinks too. If you guys didn't know that this was his last season before he was going to retire too, so this was going to
really?
Yeah, this was going to be his final hoorah with the Eagles. So stinks that it had to end this way. So, but yeah, I'm just
going to retire. How old is he?
All I know is
in the league for like 10 plus years.
Yeah, I think this is like his 14th season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's 36. Holy shit.
So yeah,
I thought he was like early 30s. Okay.
Yeah, so it just stinks for him to go out like that. Yeah, and like you said, he's the emotional leader on that defense for sure. So, but fantastic career. I'll always remember what he did for us. So, but yeah, other than that, just proud of my team. This was a good win against a great offense.
How'd you feel, Dylan?
I definitely do. That was the ninth most rushing yards in a game in NFL history. Saquon Barkley.
It's crazy.
So
I shocked at that low, honestly.
Yeah, 255. There's been a lot of good rushing. It's very much a lot. I enjoyed watching this game. It looked really good. Like the Eagles looked really good. Their defense looked really good. not necessarily at all points, but opportunistic. They made some good third down stops. They were there in the game. And it's like, this is probably, other than that Cowboys game, this is like one of the games you could really look at and be like, oh, wow, the Eagles put it all together. And this is what they could be. And whenever you look at their roster on paper, this is what you're expecting.
Yeah, they're looking pretty dangerous right now.
And the Rams aren't the best competition, I don't think. Like, the Rams are not a top 10 team in the NFL, but they trounced them at home.
Yeah, they're playoff caliber, and they were at home in primetime though, so that's impressive. Yeah. I picked the Rams to win. So like, I didn't think that. Obviously, I thought the Rams had a chance. So
yeah, I mean, this was a good test though for the defense, anyways. Though, just going up against two stud wide receivers, and a pretty good running back.
Mm. All right, next up,
it was a great game.
Next up, Cowboys 34, Commanders 26. This was the craziest game of the week.
Yeah.
So the Cowboys pull off a miracle after the Commanders get a last-minute Hail Mary touchdown. So I'm just going to go down and just tell you what happened the entire fourth quarter here. So the score was 10-9 Dallas going into the fourth. So Dallas kicks a field goal with 8 minutes to go, 13-9 Dallas. Then Washington fumbles immediately on their next drive. It's recovered by Dallas. And then Cooper Rush to Luke Schoonmaker for a touchdown. It's 20-9 Dallas. That's 5 minutes to go. Then Washington drives down the field, and then Jaden Daniels hits Ertz for a touchdown and then scores a 2-point conversion. So there's 20-17 Dallas with 3 minutes to go. Then Washington has like a little bit of like a knuckleball kickoff that Kevontae Turpin catches, or actually drops at the 3-yard line, I should say. Goes back, picks it up. Washington's coming at him full force. He does like a goofy little spin move, jukes everybody out, just the clear path to the end zone all the way, touchdown. That's 27-17 Dallas with 2:49 to go. Then Austin Seibert, who had a bad game coming back from an injury, hit a 51-yard field goal. So that's pretty impressive considering like what's coming next. With 1:44 to go, 27-20 to Dallas. Then Daniels hits Terry McLaurin for an 86-yard touchdown, and Seibert misses the extra point. So it's 27-26 Dallas. 21 seconds to go. Obviously, Washington had the onside kick, and Dallas returns the onside kick for a touchdown with 14 seconds to go. The final score, 34-26. So that means, let me do some quick math here. Dallas outscored them 24-17 in the last 8 minutes of the game after being 10-9 the entire game. So crazy ass game.
Yeah, it's funny too because that onside kick recovery for the touchdown almost turned out to be a bad move. Like if Washington had a chance to drive down the field at that point too,
Yeah, with like 10 seconds left in the game. But
yeah, I mean, highly unlikely, but still, you should have just kneeled it right there, after getting it.
Oh, you mean like if he would have fumbled it while he was running to the end zone or something like that?
No, I'm just saying, even just for the fact that he scored, it was still an 8-point lead, which means that Washington, although highly unlikely, still had a chance to come back.
I see. Yeah. Oh, good point. That's a good point. Okay, stat-wise, start with the Cowboys. Cooper Kupp, Jesus Christ, I can't talk. Cooper Rush, 24-32, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns. Luke Schoonmaker, well, honestly, interesting pickup. Interesting waiver wire pickup. I don't know what Jake Ferguson's status is. He obviously missed this game.
Did not practice on Tuesday.
Okay, that's good to know, too. I didn't know that. Didn't practice today. They play Thursday. I'm going to assume Fergie's out. I don't know. Do you guys like that play, Luke Schoonmaker against the Giants? I think like if you're desperate for a tight end, that's a decent pickup this week in the waiver wire.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, Cooper Rush looked a little better in the offense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah. Jaden Daniels, 25-38, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. 74 rushing yards and a touchdown as well. One of those picks happened on a last-second Hail Mary, so I mean, barely count that one. Zach Ertz was 6 for 38 and a touchdown. Terry McLaurin 5 for 102 and a touchdown, but it was the 86-yard touchdown. So before that, he was like 4 for 20-something. So like not really all that good. I don't know if you remember back to what I was saying on Saturday with the left side of the field, right side of the field. Terry McLaurin was on the right side of the field during the Hail Mary, funny enough, but I think he was on the left side for a lot of this game. And Noah Brown actually did pretty decent. I don't know if I wrote Noah Brown's stats down here, but 6 for 71 for Noah Brown. Washington's running backs, though, Brian Robinson was 5 for 13, left the game with an injury. His status up in the air as well. I don't know if he's going to, obviously they play on Sunday, right?
Yes.
They don't play Thursday, so they play on Sunday. So we'll see. Eckler left the game late in the fourth quarter with like a very scary concussion. He was completely out cold on the field. So I'm assuming Eckler does not play at all this week, and we'll see about Brian Robinson. I think Jeremy McNichols is an interesting waiver pickup.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think McNichols and Gus Edwards in whatever order you prefer, because I don't really have a preference. I think McNichols is my preference, but it just depends on what the severity of the injuries are to Robinson and Dobbins. So I would go McNichols, I think, but it's just coin flip, whoever you like more. I think those are the two best waiver pickups by a lot this week. The only problem is, though, with Jeremy McNichols is they play the Titans this week, who have a very good run defense, and then there's a bye week for Washington next week.
Yeah, they just shut down Joe Mixon, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So it's a tough situation there. But for Dallas, their wide receivers, Lamb 10 for 67, Tolbert 2 for 22 and a touchdown, and then Rico Dowdle 19 for 86. I mean, I guess we kind of already rolled down the interesting part of this, unless you guys have another thing to say about this game.
Are we concerned about Washington?
I am. Yeah.
I am. Yep. You know, it was funny. Like 2 weeks ago, I said they're guaranteed to at least make the wild card. I'm not so sure about that anymore.
I'm not either, honestly.
Yeah.
They don't look impressive.
I mean, you look at their last month. So they should have lost to the Bears. Then they beat the Giants, right? I think they beat them by 5 points. Then they lose a tough one to the Steelers. Then they lose to the Eagles pretty decisively, and then they lose this one to the Cowboys. I'm definitely worried about them. They're on fraud watch big time. Rest of their schedule: Titans, bye, Saints, Eagles, Falcons, Cowboys. So not the easiest schedule. Maybe not the hardest either, but definitely not an easy schedule, I would say. So if I had to guess, I do not think Washington makes the playoffs as it stands right now.
Yeah, their red zone offense is a liability. They can't score when they get close.
No, they cannot. Yeah.
Which is funny because they used to, in the first half of the season, that was a strength of theirs. Even if it was just a field goal, they were scoring almost every single time they crossed the 50-yard line.
No, not really. When they get into the red zone, they've had trouble scoring touchdowns all year. And you're not going to field goals are a consolation for a missed touchdown. It's not. You're not going to.
First 4 weeks of the season, Jaden Daniels had 4 rushing touchdowns.
Okay, that's not going to keep happening.
I know, but I'm just saying. I think you're not giving their offense enough credit for the first half of the season. I think they were pretty efficient in the first few games, first 5-6 games.
Yeah, for sure. But what you just said, they could be. And if it wasn't for a Hail Mary, would they not be on a 5-game losing streak right now?
No, they wouldn't be because they beat the Giants.
Oh, okay.
In week 9.
Everybody beats the Giants week 9.
Okay. Next up, Chiefs 30, Panthers 27. I said that the Panthers had a 0% chance of winning this game, and I was correct, even though they almost won, but they didn't win. Patrick Mahomes, 27 of 37, 269 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had 60 rush yards. Kareem Hunt, I do think that this is the last time we see Kareem Hunt as the starter. I think Pacheco's back next week. I think Kareem Hunt will still be involved, but I think Pacheco's back next week. Hunt, though, 16 for 68. I was expecting a much better game out of him against the Panthers.
Well, so this little update I had on Pacheco. So,
Sure.
So today was the first time that he's practiced since coming back from the injury. So they're projecting that he's still going to have somewhat of a lighter workload coming into this game just because of that fact.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
So Kareem Hunt might still
play, though.
Yeah, he'll still play for sure. I just think Kareem Hunt's still going to get a sizable workload.
Okay, and it is the Raiders, so they might both have really good games. So
true. Yeah.
Noah Gray teased him a little bit earlier. 4 for 66 and 2 touchdowns. Now he has back-to-back games with 2 touchdowns. Is he an actual fantasy option moving forward?
No.
You don't think so? I do. I actually do. Mainly because the tight ends are just, it's just a crapshoot every single week. I don't know. I feel like they use Noah Gray. It's not like going to be the most ideal situation, but if you don't have a reliable tight end, like he's worth a flyer. I don't. 4 touchdowns in 2 weeks. They're playing the Raiders this week.
They were, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess he could be, but there's DeAndre Hopkins. There's still Travis Kelce. There's Xavier Worthy. They have 2 healthy running backs now. Like, it could be him getting another. Like, I don't see him getting another 2 touchdowns. Also, he could have 1 catch for 3 yards. And that's too low of a floor for me.
Almost any tight end can have 1 catch for 3 yards any given week. Look at Njoku.
Yeah, but Njoku to me is not. He's not like a guy that you would expect has. He's been 17 good games.
He's been getting peppered with targets since Jameis came in.
Oh, for sure. I mean, peppered with targets. Noah Gray's not being peppered with targets.
No, he's not.
There's a lot of mouths to feed in Kansas City. What I'm saying is I guess it's a high reward, but it's very risky. Because going into where we're at right now in the fantasy season, a lot of playoffs are starting. Is it worth the risk of that low floor?
Yeah. I think Dylan said it perfectly. I mean, I'm kind of on the fence. Like, I don't think I'm on as low on Noah Gray as Dylan might be, but I wouldn't be throwing him in my starting lineup this week.
If I was desperate, I would. If I was desperate, I would play him against the Raiders.
Fair enough.
Kelce was 6 for 62. Worthy was 4 for 46. And DeAndre Hopkins was 5 for 35 and a touchdown. Bryce Young, good game again. 21 of 35, 263 and a touchdown. I mean, he looks like a completely different player than he did in weeks 1 and 2. So I don't know if the benching, I assume it probably did, or I don't know, maybe he's just, fool's gold again here. But I mean, he's definitely playing himself into the conversation of should he be the starting quarterback again next season.
Yeah.
I don't know what the correct answer is. I'm glad I'm not the decision maker that has to make that decision. You guys have an opinion? I think Dylan does.
I mean, you can't give up necessarily on a quarterback when the team stinks. You know what I mean? Like, It's not Bryce Young's fault that the Panthers suck. It's the Panthers that suck, which is the reason why Bryce Young is struggling. It's not the other way around. It's not like the Panthers are the fucking, like, they have enough talent to win that division and Bryce Young's screwing it up. No, they're devoid of talent, which is holding back this young quarterback, which is, you could say, like, oh, we'll move on. But in reality, you could take, a pick and draft someone to help him. But I don't trust the Panthers to do anything right.
Yeah, good point. Kai, you got an opinion?
About Bryce Young?
Yeah.
Man.
Would you let him be the starting quarterback next year?
I think at the very least, I mean, it's tough.
Panthers currently have the 6th overall pick if the season ended today.
Man. It is tough. I mean, if you do feel like drafting a quarterback, I think Bryce Young has at least earned the opportunity to compete in camp the following offseason. Or, I mean, during that offseason, I'm sorry. But that's my opinion about it. I don't know if he should be outright the starter. I mean, if you really have your heart set on drafting another quarterback just in case Bryce Young doesn't work out, at least let Bryce Young stay and compete.
I think it's too close to call right now. There's still so many games left here. What, 5 or 6 games left? So he's going to be auditioning the rest of the season. We'll just see how we think of Bryce Young after week 18, I think.
Yeah.
Get him a fucking offensive line that can protect him and a playmaker.
Maybe a couple of playmakers.
Dude, go pay T. Higgins.
Dude, yeah.
Do something to help this guy. He's small. He's a small quarterback. He needs a good offensive line and a guy he could throw a fucking 50-50 ball to, and he doesn't have one. Like they got Adam the carcass of fucking Adam Thielen out there. They got Xavier Legette, dude, who's a rookie. They've got nobody else. Like Chuba Hubbard is basically their MVP. What the fuck are we doing here? Get him a left tackle, get him a wide receiver, and run it back. Because if you draft another quarterback, dude, you're gonna get him killed too. David Tepper, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself.
Chuba got the majority of the workload, even though it was Jonathan Brooks' NFL debut. Chuba 16 for 58 and a touchdown. Brooks only 2 carries for 7 yards. Do you expect that to change coming up? Like, do you think Jonathan Brooks is going to have a role in the offense in the last 6 games?
I think eventually, yeah. Well, yeah, why not? They're gonna want to see what they have with him.
He's not going to have a role in this offense more than what he had in this game. They just paid Chuba Hubbard.
So?
They don't want to get him hurt.
I think he's going to get the Blake Corum treatment.
He's just going to get his feet wet. He's going to get on the field. He's going to get his feet wet, make him play some special teams. Fucking put him on ice for next season, dude.
I just think because the team is so bad, why not just throw him out there more often than not, you know?
This team is cooked, bro.
That's something a competent team would do, maybe potentially, but I don't know about the Panthers.
Yeah.
I think they should give him, like, obviously Chuba's a great player. I'm not saying that like Chuba should get less touches, but they should just see what they have with Jonathan Brooks. He was a 2nd round pick, wasn't he, or 3rd, something like that?
Just 2nd round pick, I think.
Was he 2nd? So it's like you spent a 2nd on this guy. You're not even gonna like use him. That's kind of odd, right?
Right.
Dude, keep him healthy. Give him a full off season. Give him a training camp. Give him a preseason and roll him out next year with a 2-headed monster between him and Chuba Hubbard.
Then if you're going to do that, you may as well not even roll him out at all for 2-3 carries a game.
They shouldn't have. They shouldn't have, dude. They shouldn't have done anything with him. They should have fucking kept him out this year. There's no upside to putting a rookie out there you're not going to do anything. Sure, he's going to get NFL. He's going to get NFL snaps in general, right? But what are you gaining from it? You're not gaining anything from it.
As a team, you're not, but it is good to get him reps just for him to know what it feels like to be in an NFL game and stuff like that. Like, even if he only gets like 30 or 40 touches this year, it's like he's still going to know what it feels like to be hit by an actual NFL linebacker. He's going to know what it feels like to be in front of the crowd and stuff like that. It could help him.
I agree. But that role, it's going to be this. It's going to be 5 carries a game maximum. You know, unless he gets a hot hand, but I don't see that happening.
I don't think the Panthers
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are they playing? Fucking Arborview High School's JV team?
David Moore, the leading receiver for the Panthers, 6 for 81 and a touchdown. Thielen was 3 for 57 in his return. Legette 4 for 56. Titans 32, Texans 27. Will Levis 18 of 24, 278, 2 touchdowns, a pick, and a fumble. Honestly, thought he played pretty good.
Yeah.
Will Levis did pretty good, honestly. Pollard was great too, 24 for 119 and a touchdown. Calvin Ridley leads the wide receivers. I mean, obviously, 5 for 93. Chigankakwo, though, caught an awesome 70-yard touchdown. A catch and a scamper for Chigankakwo. And then Westbrook Ikine cannot stop scoring touchdowns. I mean, he's only going to have 2 or 3 catches in a game, but he's getting a touchdown no matter what. 2 for 48 and a touchdown for him. Titans run defense had 9 tackles for losses in this game. I mean, the Texans, they only lost by 5, but it felt like they were, you know, they were hurting a little bit here. CJ Stroud, 20 for 33, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Mixon has his worst game as a Texan, probably his worst game in a while, if not ever. 14 for 22. Nico Collins, 5 for 92 and a touchdown. Welcome back to the big game. Nico Collins. Tank Dell, 3 for 72. Cade Stover, 3 for 26 and a touchdown. And then for the Texans defense, Neil Hunter had 3 sacks. Will Anderson had 2 sacks. The Titans defense had 8 sacks and 13 tackles for losses overall.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's ironically
so hold on. You said the Titans run defense had 9 tackles for losses and then 13 tackles for losses. How does that make any sense?
I meant the Texans on that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Texans defense at 8 sacks and 13 tackles for losses.
And that's a crazy stat line, though, too, in itself, because Tony Pollard still had an amazing game. So it's like...
And Will Levis did, too. I mean, he had 2 turnovers, but still, like, that's a pretty good game for Levis. 278 and 2.
Yeah.
What a weird game.
Sacks count as tackles for loss. So
That's true.
they only had 5 tackles for loss on non-quarterback players. Not that great of a game against the run, if you ask me.
That is true.
Oh, yeah, good
That is
point.
true.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that Euro step spin move Danielle Hunter had against the Titans offensive line, dude?
Dude,
I did not.
He's disgusting.
Fucking hell, dude.
Yeah.
He took like a gather step, faked back, spun around the offensive lineman for a sack, dude. He's like a 30-something-year-old man doing like 19-year-old man things.
Hold on,
Pretty
I'm watching
impressive.
it right now. Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, dude.
It's the one where they're in the end zone. The Titans are in the end zone.
Literally a Euro step spin, dude. Never seen anything like it in my life.
That's dope.
He's a nasty man, and that's nasty work.
And CJ Stroud, I believe, when the Texans were only down by 3, I think it was 30-27 Titans, the Texans were going to try to score. I think he had a safety where he kind of like, I can't remember if he Orlovsky did or he got forced out, but he was like, I know he was like riding the back of the end zone. Did he step out like Orlovsky? It was a weird safety. I remember that, but I can't remember exactly what happened.
I'm trying to remember.
You guys remember?
I think he did
Didn't happen
Orlovsky
this
it.
The thing is, dude, CJ Stroud looks like shit
He does.
this year.
He's having a bad year.
Yeah, no, I mean, if they didn't,
They got
if this team,
Tape on him, dude.
yeah, no, I mean, if this team did not have Joe Mixon or this defense, they'd probably have like 4 wins.
It wasn't a
think
full
the
Orlovsky. It was like a half Lofsky.
Half Lofsky.
Pavlovsky.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I think the Texans and the Commanders this year are the biggest frauds in the NFL. Like the fact that the Texans get to win. Wait, what's the standings? Let's see the standings here in the AFC South.
Well, the
Let's
Colts
see what's
just
going on
lost.
here.
The difference between the Texans and the Commanders, though, is the Commanders weren't expected to be good, though. So even if they don't make the play, I still think this is a successful season for the Commanders compared to like what they have been doing.
That's a
The
good
Texans,
point.
this is probably a failure of a season, no matter what. Unless they make a nice little run here, this is probably an epic failure of a season for the Texans. I mean, granted, they're probably still going to make the playoffs, right? I mean, they're still leading that division by 2 games.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
So-
They play the Jags.
Oh,
This is
schedule
a schedule game. They
Mhm.
play. They're at the Jaguars. What do we call that?
win.
Win.
Okay. And then they are home versus the Dolphins. I got to give it to the
I'm
Dolphins,
going to
dude.
give it to the Dolphins as well. I think they're going to play spoiler a little bit here.
Well, you guys.
Okay.
yeah,
And
you guys got
here we go. Here we go. At the Chiefs.
Loss.
lost.
Okay. Home versus the Ravens.
Loss.
And then at the Titans.
I'll give them that one. That's 9 and 8.
Woo!
If you guys agreed, what do you say?
Hey, look. If we're going to give them 9 and 8, I'll go with 9 and 8 because the Texans
take
are
it,
better.
yeah.
than
They're not going to get
losing
swept
record.
by Tennessee, right?
They're going to get absolutely jackhammered
In the playoffs.
in the playoffs, dude. They're going to get.
Well, if they finish 9 and 8,
Smacked.
the Colts could catch up to them. If Anthony Richardson
That's
just
what I'm
plays
saying,
decent at all, the Colts could catch up to them.
dude. That's
a big
think-
if.
No,
It is.
dude. All right. Schedule game here.
Schedule game for the
Indianapolis.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Here we go.
We have at the Patriots.
Win?
I'm gonna say a loss.
That's November. That's December 1st. Okay, so at the Patriots, we're gonna say a loss.
I'll say
At
a
the
loss.
Broncos. At the Broncos.
Loss.
Home versus the Titans.
Win.
At the Giants.
Win?
Yes, win.
And then home versus the Jags. That's a win, right?
Win. I only have 16 games. Did we skip one? I only counted 8 and 8.
So it's Patriots, Broncos, Titans, Giants, Jags.
I think I miscounted. So they're either 8 and 8 or 8 and 9 or 9 and 8 too. They could catch up. They could catch
They
up.
could
The Colts
catch
could
up.
catch
All
up.
right. We'll see.
They could catch up, dude.
Well, CJ Stroud needs to
Hey.
get his head out of his ass if this is going to work.
I don't think that's gonna happen, dude, because he looks like
Hey,
shit.
Nico Collins is going to help though. He hasn't
Yeah.
had Nico in a while.
You know what CJ Stroud needs to stop doing? Stop going on podcasts. Stop doing interviews. focus on football. He spent too much time on Michael Parsons' stupid fucking podcast, going on TV shows. Go study your playbook, dude.
And stop giving advice to Caleb Williams.
Yeah, dude. You little rode my quarterback, dude. It's not going to look good for you in the future. CJ Stroud, bust. He's a bust.
Okay.
Next
up, Vikings 30, Bears 27. Darnold, he was solid. He was actually really good. 22 of 34, 330 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Bears. That's excellent. Aaron Jones, I mean, Dylan called this one from a mile away, continues to dominate them. 22 for 106 and a touchdown. Addison is the one that popped off here. Jefferson kind of had a down game. I mean, definitely had a down game. 2 for 27. You don't see Jefferson do that often. Was that just like a Jalen Johnson effect, or?
There were 2 pass interference penalties called on Jalen Johnson covering Justin Jefferson. So if you count those 2 penalties as yardage, it was probably more of like a 4 for 70.
Okay.
Still pretty good job, though.
Those yards counted, but statistically he didn't get them. But yeah, dude, Jalen Johnson is a good cornerback.
Mm-hmm. JJ on JJ. Addison 8 for 162 and a touchdown. He had a really good game, obviously. Hawkinson also had a great game, 7 for 114. Jalen Naylor caught a 5-yard touchdown. And then for the Bears, Caleb, 32 of 47 for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. Is that his career high in passing yards?
It's pretty good. I think he had a 300-yard game earlier this season.
London.
He had 363 against the Colts is his season high, and 2 touchdowns that game in week 3. The Chicago run game mostly ineffective. Roschon scored a goal line touchdown. DJ Moore, redemption, 7 for 106 and a touchdown. He might be back into fantasy lineups this week. Keenan Allen, 9 for 86 and a touchdown. A little shock. Actually, was it shocking? I feel like Dylan called that too, didn't you? Did you say Keenan Allen was going to have a good game?
Yeah, I think Keenan Allen has been a favorite target for Caleb Williams this season. It just hasn't necessarily worked out as much. He was injured, but he's always looking for him, and it kind of looked off schedule a little bit earlier in the season. But when it comes to targets, he's probably getting some of the most in the Bears offense. They also got Cole Kmet involved in this game. DJ Moore was also involved in the run game. So they gave him a few carries. But when it comes to Keenan Allen, he also had like a 30-yard catch on the sideline that was called out because his toe was barely out. Mm-hmm. So what we're looking at here is just like, I guess, an emergence of a Bears offense ran by Thomas Brown that I really like. I feel like Shane Waldron was the biggest detriment to this team early in the season. But we'll see what it is going forward. I always knew this year was about the quarterback. I always knew this year was about development and seeing what the team had, being gelled, getting going. But things aren't looking good for the coaching staff. I don't think Eberflus will be around next season. So it's going to be a hard reset. And the only thing I could really hope is that maybe we end the year hot. Like, I would hate to lose all the continuity that we do have on the offense, but hey, this is Chicago Bears football, man. We do everything backwards.
I mean, this was honestly, the Bears put up a fight in this game, though. It was a close game. Honestly, one of the better games of the week.
Yeah,
you gotta feel a little good about that, right?
Oh, I feel excellent about the offense. It's like, I've been so used to this year the Bears defense keeping them in games. Don't get me wrong. The Bears defense did stand up and say, hey, look, we're going to make plays when we need to. We're going to do what we need to keep you in this game. But like DeAndre Carter with the muffed punt, that really hurt. It's just like these little mistakes that just add up over the course of games. But this offense kept us in this game. Like Roschon Johnson looked good. DeAndre Swift looked good on that one catch he had. It's like everybody's starting to get into the rhythm. But man, the next 4 games, they got Lions, Niners, Vikings, Lions. It's not looking good at all.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really tough test.
I mean, those games they win.
Oh, 0.
Probably, honestly.
I think honestly, the best chance they
4 wins. 4 wins would be a good draft pick, though.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, look, we're on a 5-game losing streak right now. If we happen to pop, we're not going to beat the Lions on Thanksgiving.
No,
that's not happening. Okay, so we might beat the Niners. I think maybe we beat the Vikings, maybe, but I'm not counting on it. We don't beat the Lions again, and then we play the Seahawks and the Packers after that. We could literally lose.
That's a tough schedule.
We could lose 10. Was it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? We could lose 11. We could lose 11 games to end the season and get a top 10 pick, which is good for the Bears, right? And as long as Justin Fields, fuck him. As long as Caleb Williams can get, he's going to play these tough teams. As long as he can kind of keep developing his game, even if we have some losses, I just want to see a couple flashes on the offense. I want to see them put together some good drives. I'm not going to be devastated about if they lose out, because it's very possible. I'd say it's more possible they lose out than anything else. You know, we might squeeze out a win, but dude, give me a top 10 pick. You know what we need? Anything.
Travis Hunter.
Anybody.
Travis Hunter.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No.
Why?
I think more along the lines of an offensive tackle.
Oh, okay. I mean, I think Travis Hunter would be helpful. 2 players in one.
That's not going to work in the NFL, dude.
It might.
He's going to get his chest plate crushed in on a screen pass and go, I can't go out there and cover someone right now.
But
and they're going to go, why not, dude?
Troy Brown used to do it for New England, and he wasn't even near the talent as Travis Hunter.
Yeah, but he was also, that was a competent franchise.
Okay, that's fair. All right, let's move on. Bucs 30, Giants 7. Baker 24 of 30, 294 yards and a rushing touchdown. Then he also mocked Tommy DeVito with the very aggressive Italian hands, dude. It was kind of funny. After the game, he tried to say that it was a tribute. I was like, that was no fucking tribute, dude.
Tribute to what?
Tribute to Tommy DeVito, because he's like, that's a nice guy. He was like trying to like give him compliments and stuff. I'm like, Baker, we know you better than that, dude. All 3 Buccaneers running backs scored on the ground. Bucky Irving, 12 for 87. Rashad, 12 for 37. Sean Tucker, 4 for 3. Mike Evans in his return, 5 for 68. So solid game. You would have liked like a touchdown or something like that, but 11 points in his first game back is solid. Tommy DeVito, 21 of 31 for 189 yards. He stinks.
Oh, yeah.
Tyrone Tracy, 9 for 42 on the ground, and he had yet another fumble, 2 straight weeks with a fumble. It's probably not going to help his chances of getting the ball more, but he is a talented running back, so if he can fix that, I still think he has a chance to be like a really good fantasy player moving forward, but that Giants offense is just so abysmal right now, and then with a fumbling problem too, I don't know. Devin Singletary vultured his ass, scored on a 2-yard run, and then Malik Neighbors, 6 for 64, but he had 0 targets at halftime, so all that was in the second half. I personally think they should start Drew Lock. I don't like Drew Lock either, but Tommy DeVito's not it, dude. I'm sorry. He's Kai's favorite player, but
no,
me and Dylan have a sense about us, and we know that he stinks. So
I do not like Tommy DeVito.
I would see what Drew Lock has personally. You know what Tommy DeVito is. Put Drew Lock in there. The last time we saw Drew Lock, he played really well for the Seahawks. He won a Monday Night Football game. So just see what he has. I think he's got more potential than Tommy DeVito personally.
Yeah, it's the disrespect on Drew Lock's name to sign him and bring him in and then sit him in favor of basically a no-name third-string quarterback for the rest of his career. Drew Lock, you had to have known you made a mistake signing with the Giants anyways.
Yeah.
So it's on you. That's what you get. My question about the Buccaneers, though. Mike Evans has 400 receiving yards with 6 games left. Can he reach the 1,000-yard threshold to keep this streak going?
He can, but it's not likely.
Yeah.
He would have to have 100 yards in every single game, or he would have to pop off in like 4 games just to recover if he has like double-digit receiving totals in a couple of games too.
Would you be surprised if he finished the year with 1,001 receiving yards?
Nope.
Kai's not making that mistake again. He's like, no. I would not be surprised. Don't clip this.
I'm rooting for him, dude. I hope he does it, but it just sucks that injuries had to be the one thing that affected his season, because I always thought he was injury prone, but then you look back at his game logs for his whole career, and he hasn't missed that many games at all.
Yeah, no, he's been pretty healthy player most of his career. Yeah.
He's never played or started less than 13 games in his career in a season.
Oh, that's great.
Nuts.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why he always has 1,000 yards, right? It's because he's not injured. He's playing football.
Yeah. I mean, it would just be so ironic if the first time he doesn't hit 1,000 yards is because of injury.
I still think he can do it, dude.
Oh, yeah. It would be awesome.
He could. I don't think it's likely, but he could do it.
Yeah.
One last note, injury news for the Bucs. Jordan Whitehead, their safety, is going to miss time with a pec injury that he suffered in the game. There's a chance he returns during the season if Tampa makes a playoff run, but for now, he's going to be out for a little bit. All right. Broncos 29, Raiders 19. I mean, this was Broncos just out. The Raiders put up a good fight. Don't get me wrong, but the Broncos just outclassed them, dude. Better quarterback, better coach, better defense. It just is what it is. Broncos 29, Raiders 19. Bo Nix 25 of 42, 273 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jaleel McLaughlin was the leading running back for the Dolphins. The Broncos 7 for 44. Cortland Sutton had another fantastic game, 8 for 97 and 2 touchdowns. Devon Vele 6 for 80. I mean, he was just picking the Raiders apart in the first half. Devon Vele. And then on the other side for the Raiders, Minshew 25 of 42 for 230, a touchdown, a pick. Then he broke his collarbone and he is out for the season. Desmond Ridder came in relief, 5 for 10, 64 yards, and a fumble. As of right now, it seems like Aiden O'Connell is going to start on Friday against the Chiefs. It seems like he is on his way back. It's not confirmed yet, but word on the street is that's probably what's going to happen. He was a full participant in practice today. So unless there's a setback, he's starting on Friday. If you remember the last time he played the Chiefs, it was that goofy ass game last year, which it might have been, it was either the day after Thanksgiving or the day after Christmas last year, where he didn't have a completion after the first quarter and the Raiders kicked the Chiefs' asses. Very weird. I don't think that's going to happen again this year. The Raiders' run game ineffective. Obviously, Madison and Zamir White were out. They suck anyway, so it doesn't matter. Jacoby Myers was 10 for 121 yards on 15 targets. Trey Tucker 7 for 82. They were the leading receivers for the Raiders. And then Amir Abdullah scored the lone touchdown, 5 for 37. What was Bauer's stat line?
It was like 3 catches for, it was like very little. Let me see.
4 for 38 on 10 targets. Good Lord, yeah. I mean,
shit happens, dude.
Yeah, there's not much to say about this game. It's just the Broncos are the better team. The Raiders are legitimately, I think, the worst team in football. Just off the top of my head, I can't think of another team that I would put below. Maybe the Giants, probably actually.
Maybe the Jags. Yeah.
They're basically the same devils. All three of them are just any given week they're the worst team in football. I personally expect the Raiders to have a top 4 pick in the draft this year. I would not be shocked if they're number 1 overall pick, and I would absolutely love that.
Shedeur Sanders, you're a Raider.
Or Cam Ward. Either one of them. That'd be cool.
Cam Ward.
Yeah.
If they don't pick Cam Ward, that's a fucking mistake, dude.
Yeah. But I heard Shedeur wants to come to Vegas.
I haven't reviewed the tape. I don't know who my favorite is.
Oh, I know.
It's what Dion wants. No, I'm just kidding.
No. I don't want that whole fucking headache of. If I was a Raiders fan, the last thing I would want is Deion Sanders' kid as my quarterback.
I will take Shedeur. Don't get me wrong. I don't want the package deal. I don't want Deion as the coach.
Well, I mean, you're gonna get it no matter what.
I don't think the Raiders will do that.
So to go on to this game right here. Mm-hmm. So the Broncos, right? I saw on TikTok it was Bo Nix really struggled the first 3 weeks of the season. He struggled really mightily. Mm-hmm. He had 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Was not a very good passer to start the season. In the middle of game 3, I believe he screamed in Sean Payton's face with his big wide eyes. It's like, ah! They were fighting, screaming back and forth. Since that moment, he has 13 touchdowns, 4 picks. What happened in that moment?
The stat that I have here is his last 9 games. He has 19 total touchdowns and 2 picks is what I have for the last 9 games, which is
okay.
Pretty crazy. I mean, I can fact check that because this was on.
It's like rushing touchdowns,
CBS.
passing touchdowns.
Maybe it was just like
basically
an acknowledgement of respect for one another. It was like, hey, dude.
Well, they explained after the game that they said that they loved each other. That was Bo Nix's explanation. He's like, "What did you say to Sean Payton during that?" He's like, "I just told him that I love him, and he told me that he loves me back." And that was his answer. It was like, okay, you're a psycho.
He really said if you don't call the right plays, I'm gonna bite your finger off like a carrot, Sean.
And Sean Payton, he was like, okay, all right,
dude.
All right.
Let's move on. The Packers 38, Niners 10. I mean, just a shit pumping. But you just said like the Texans and the Commanders are fraud watch. The Niners are absolutely fraud watch. I think it might be Jover for the 49ers here, guys. They're 5-6. They're tied. I mean, obviously they're only a game back at the NFC West. This is not the same team that we're accustomed to.
No, it's not.
Debo, I mean, Dylan was talking about it earlier. Debo does not look like Debo. CMC doesn't look like CMC. Obviously, that's, injuries for CMC. I'm not blaming McCaffrey. I think that as he works more into this, it gets more experience into the games this year, I think he'll bounce back and become himself again as we get closer to like the fantasy playoffs here. But I think the Niners are toast, man. I did hear that they might get Dre Greenlaw back soon, which obviously would help, but I that's like a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. I mean, there's potential that this is going to come back and bite me on the ass because it is the 49ers still, but they just do not have the juice anymore. I know it's Brandon Allen and Purdy didn't play, but still, man, it's just not the same.
I mean, you're right, though. I mean, it's like even if the Niners do come back and still win this division, I mean, how are they going to fare in the playoffs? I don't think they're going to fare very well at this current state, so...
I mean, unless they like pull a Chiefs where like Travis Kelce looked like shit all year, and then all of a sudden he's Travis Kelce again in the playoffs. Unless Debo and CMC both do that, I don't think it's gonna happen, man.
Yeah,
this is the Lions or the Eagles year.
Yeah, man, I feel like this is the Niners' only avenue of making the playoffs. I believe is winning that division, and it shouldn't be hard because they're all within a game and a half of each other.
Yeah.
Like there is no clear-cut first place team right here. They're all either 6-5 or 5-6. They're basically competing with their whole division, Tampa, Green Bay, Minnesota, and Washington. Like those are the everything. So I don't think 2 playoff teams are coming out of the NFC West. And if it is, some crazy shit's going to have to happen. But I'm not sleeping on the 49ers because in this division, it's a 2-week stretch. The 49ers need a 2-week stretch, but any time between now and the end of the season to finish this off and win that division. And let me tell you what, dude, there might be a losing team coming out of this division with the title. It's very possible.
I mean,
it's very possible.
It would have to be something crazy would have to happen because we've already determined that the Niners cannot get a winning divisional record. So this is going to be very tough to just outright win the division.
Yeah, dude. Week 18, Niners Cardinals.
Could be a big one.
That's the game.
I don't know about the losing record thing. I don't know about that.
They're all sub 500 right now, so you never know.
No, they're not. Seahawks and Cardinals are 6-5.
Sub 500. So they're basically.
That's not what sub 500 means.
Yeah, that means right around 500.
That means under 500, sub 500.
Well, it's basically the same thing. One game. What I'm saying is 1 loss or 1 win puts either of these teams at 500.
I get that, but they're not bad teams though. Like 49ers aren't themselves, but like they're still better than like the fucking Cowboys, and like the Seahawks have been playing pretty good lately. The Cardinals have been playing really good overall. Honestly, I think they've been the most consistent team, and then the Rams. They're not like dog shit. This isn't a dog shit division like we've seen in the past with like that one time the NFC South where the Panthers won at 7-9 and the Commanders won at 7-9 one year in 2020. So this is just a really super competitive division. So I don't know if it is possible. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that'll be the case. But
it's really sad though, because you look at the Niners. Their wins are the Jets, the Patriots, the Seahawks, the Cowboys, and the Bucs. They've only beaten 2 teams that are worth a shit at all.
I mean, the Bucs, even though we consider them worth a shit, they have a losing record right now too, right? 5-6.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah.
If the only team that they beat with a winning record is the fucking Seahawks.
Mm-hmm. And they're barely they're sub 500.
Basically, they're 1 game off. They're 1 game off from being a 500 team. It doesn't even make sense. Like last year,
I don't see it happening for the Niners this year. I don't.
And they play the Bills in Buffalo next week.
Oh man, I better hope Purdy's playing.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna matter,
and dude. And they play the Lions week 17.
Yeah.
The Niners play the Lions week 17, dude.
And the Lions aren't resting people in week 17. That does not sound like a Dan Campbell move. I know that's not the last week of the season anymore, but the Lions might have everything locked up by week 17. So
I think the only chance you have of getting any rest as a Detroit Lion is getting suspended.
Jameson Williams, that's why he got suspended.
I got a rest.
Coach, I need a break, dude. I'm gonna go gamble or whatever he did. I can't remember. Jordan Love, 13 for 23 for 163 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oh no, it was steroids, wasn't it? Josh Jacobs had a hat trick, 26 for 106 and 3. Tucker Kraft, 2 for 26. Malik Heath, 2 for 15. Both scored the touchdowns for Green Bay. And then Brandon Allen was 17 for 29, 199 yards, a touchdown and a pick. He was pretty bad. CMC, 11 for 31. Kittle, 6 for 82 and a touchdown.
Hey, Kittle, the lone bright spot on that offense, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we had a question on TikTok, I believe, this weekend asking if it was Kittle or who?
Disley.
The Tucker Kraft? Disley, yeah, Kittle or Disley.
We told him Kittle, yeah. So it ended up being better.
Good. You can't bench him. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Disley didn't even do anything. I think he only had like 2 or 3 catches.
Yeah, gave us a follow for it too. So thank you.
Shout out to that guy.
You can't bench George Kittle.
That was basically our logic. Yeah.
I think they're off the top of my head. I think there are only 2 tight ends. You just straight up, or like maybe 3, I guess, if you want to count Kelsey. It's like Kelsey, McBride, Kittle. Right? Is there another one?
Mark
Andrews lately. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Dolphins 34, Pats 15. Tua back to his old self, maybe potentially 29 of 40, 317 and 4.
Yeah.
Back-to-back weeks, the Dolphins have scored 34 points, by the way. So maybe I don't think they're making the playoffs, but they're going to spoil something. They're going to spoil a team or 2. I guarantee it. Achane, inefficient on the ground, 10 for 32, but scored twice through the air. He had 3 catches and 24 yards. Jalen Waddle, 8 for 144 and a touchdown. Welcome back to football, Jalen Waddle. Oh, my God. I unfortunately dropped him in a league 2 weeks ago. So screw me, I guess. But yeah, so good to see him back and scoring touchdowns. Jonnu Smith, he continues to be great for the Dolphins, 9 for 87 and a touchdown for him.
That pickup has been saving me the last 3 weeks.
He's been like tight end 1 the past 3 weeks combined, I want to say, or so. Well, like the last 2 weeks for sure. 28 and 23 the last 2 against the Raiders and Pats. Definitely, I'm right in that hot streak until he comes down from it for sure. I think if you have him, he's a must start this week. I don't care about the matchup. I don't know if it's good or not. Who are they playing? The Packers? I don't know if they're a good tight end team or not. Drake May, 22 at 37, 222, a touchdown and a pick. The Patriots run game was completely ineffective. Obviously, Dylan was talking about Ramondre earlier. Pop Douglas, the leading receiver for New England, 5 for 62. And Austin Hooper caught the lone touchdown, 4 for 59. Tyreek Hill, just nothing, man. I don't have his stats in front of me right now, but
5 for 42.
It's like 5 for 48. Yeah, 9.8 fantasy points, which is fine if like Jacoby Myers. You started Jacoby Myers, he gets you 9.8. It's like, I can't complain about it. I would have liked more. But like Tyreek Hill, you're like 9.8. What the? So I think that wrist injury is probably really bothering him. So I would be worried about him moving forward, even if the Dolphins get back to being the Dolphins like they look like they're going to. Anything else about this game, guys?
No, just get Drake May some help in the draft this year, please, because he's a good quarterback on a stinky team. Yeah.
This is statistically Tyreek Hill's worst season.
Oh, yeah.
Ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's rough, dude.
That's really not rough. Entirely his fault.
Yeah, it's been a weird season for them.
Really, really bad luck for the Dolphins this year.
Do you think this plays into him saying he's going to retire after a certain season?
I think so.
After his contract was up, right? Whenever that is.
Well, he actually set an age date. I believe he said age 32.
He said that like years ago, though, too, so he could easily just change his mind. Until he's out of the NFL, I'm not going to buy into that yet.
Well,
Tyreek Hill has never not made the Pro Bowl or been AP first team All-Pro in his career.
I mean,
this will be the first season he doesn't.
He might still make the Pro Bowl just because everybody makes the Pro Bowl, but he definitely won't be an All-Pro, obviously.
No, he's been an All-Pro 5 times in his career, in his 9-year career. So it's just
bad luck.
The mighty have fallen, dude.
Next up, Seahawks 16, Cardinals 6. Geno Smith, pretty good, honestly. 22 of 31, 254, touchdown and a pick. Geno's been balling lately.
Mm-hmm.
He's honestly had a pretty good season. I still think the Seahawks should draft somebody, but I wouldn't be opposed to like drafting a quarterback and just having him sit behind Geno next year and just give Geno another year. I think that might be a good thing.
Yep.
Kenneth Walker, 16 for 41 on the ground, 4 for 52 through the air. A little disappointing, I would say. JSN, 6 for 77 and a touchdown. JSN's been great. I mean, he might be their wide receiver 1 now. He looks better than DK.
That's not super hard to look better than DK. DK has good plays, but he's not a great receiver.
Yeah, JSN's obviously going to have the opportunity to get more catches than DK will on average too. DK is more of just like, he'll get the 4 catches and maybe like 100 yards and a touchdown most of the time.
DK was 4 for 59 in this game. Leonard Williams, 2.5 sacks. Kyler, 24-37, 285 yards and a pick. And we already talked about James Conner. The run game was garbage. Trey McBride, 12 catches for 133 yards.
He's a beast.
I mean, he's so good. He's so good. And then Marvin Harrison Jr., 3 for 47. You either get 30 points or 3 points from Marvin Harrison Jr. There's just no in between. He's never had a mid-game in his career yet. It's either like, damn, Marvin Harrison popped off, or, man, Marvin Harrison stinks. Just a complete enigma. I have no idea how to judge that moving forward next year. I assume he'll be better next year, but speaking about odd seasons, he's had a weird season. Did this make you feel any different about either the Seahawks or the Cardinals moving forward?
No, just more confused.
It makes me feel better about the Seahawks. And just
this was a nice win.
Just for this reason of 6 points.
That is good.
They have a defensive coach, came from the Ravens. He was a big-time coordinator, came in. He's completely changed that Seahawks defense. They play the run really well. Obviously, they played Kyler really well. I mean, they didn't score a touchdown. They held the Cardinals offense from scoring a touchdown at all. So this allows Geno Smith to be a game-managing quarterback, which is what he is. Move the chains, don't make mistakes, get your team into scoring position, count on your playmakers to get into the end zone, and just win the game. And it makes it really confusing for the NFC West because we don't know who the best team is in this division because they've all beaten up on each other. Yeah. It's straight cannibalism.
Hence my confusion.
The NFC West is the SEC of the NFL. We don't know who the best team is because they're constantly beating the shit out of each other. And it's going to come down to the last 2 weeks of the season. And if the Seahawks defense is going to play like this and they're going to hold teams down like this, because we didn't expect the Cardinals to come out of this game without a touchdown. So what is it in NFC West? Who's your best team?
I still got
it's a
Rams.
lot of drama. You still think the Rams, huh?
Yeah, I'm still sticking to the Rams. They have to catch fire at the right time. That's what I'm banking on.
I'm going to stick with the Cardinals, I think, but I don't feel good about it.
I mean, for the pod and our pride, I believe we had a little kerfuffle preseason saying, oh, the Cardinals, you're going to pick the Cardinals to come in so-and-so place. You remember that? The guy that was like, we had the Cardinals coming in like second place or something like that.
Specifically, they said Cardinals over Rams, LOL. It was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we know ball, dude. And you know what? I'm gonna stick with the Cardinals as well because I do think that this is like an anomaly of a game. I don't think that you're going to be able to hold their offense down. And if you really look at the stats, they shouldn't have been held without a touchdown in this game, but they were. So this is just divisional football.
I mean, McBride went 12 for 133 and didn't score a touchdown. How is that possible? Kyler Murray almost threw for 300 yards. They didn't score a touchdown. Very, very crazy. Yeah.
Bad run game. Bad run game.
Yeah, I just think this. I think the Cardinals have the best offense, which the Rams have a pretty good offense too, but I think the Cardinals probably have the most talented offense, just pound for pound. So I don't. I'll stick with them, but I don't feel good about it.
No, dude.
Okay. Lions 24, Colts 6. Goff 26 of 36, 269. Gibbs 21 for 90 and 2 touchdowns. Monty 8 for 37 and 1 touchdown. Jamison Williams went 5 for 64. Amon-Ra 6 for 62. They were the leading receivers for Detroit. And then Anthony Richardson 11 for 28, 172 yards and 61 rushing yards. I mean, the Lions defense is tough, but yeah, not good. Jonathan Taylor, we already talked about him, 11 for 35. And then Michael Pittman, though, pretty good, 6 for 96. Josh Downs also left this game with an injury. He is unlikely to play at this time. Not a guarantee, but it sounds like he's going to be out this week. So I think Michael Pittman's playable this week for sure after this performance and with no Josh Downs. But obviously with Anthony Richardson, it's a coin flip. So I don't know. The Lions basically just beat the shit out of them. I
mean, the Colts weathered the storm a little bit. They prevented a blowout.
24-6 isn't a blowout?
It's a blowout.
That's a blowout, brother. They scored 6 points.
It's not a 40. I'm talking like a 50-point blowout. Like the Lions.
Brother, they didn't score a touchdown.
How many 50-point blowouts are there in the NFL? 50 points is a lot.
Seems like a lot nowadays with the Lions.
When you don't score a touchdown and the other team scores touchdowns, it's a blowout, dude.
I'm trying to be funny.
You are funny, dude.
Funny looking.
Gotcha. All right. I don't think we got anything for this game. The Lions are good. The Colts are bad. The Colts are mid.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get to tell you that.
Let's get to the Thanksgiving preview and picks. First up, early game: Bears 4-7. The Bears. Lions 10-1. No major injuries for Chicago other than Dylan's broken heart and broken brain. Amon-Ra St. Brown is questionable. Monty is also questionable for Detroit. Should we make this quick? I'm picking the Lions.
Yeah, I'm picking the Lions too.
I'm picking the Lions, and you know what? It's just. I just hope that they can keep it within like 2 touchdowns. The Bears,
I think they could.
I think they could. They've been playing teams really well, but I'm picking the Lions. It's Thanksgiving. I don't think there's any chance that Dan Campbell wants to lose to a 4-17 on Thanksgiving. 4-7 team on Thanksgiving, especially a divisional opponent. So,
yeah, I want to say there's a 0% chance the Bears win, but I thought the Lions were going to beat the Packers pretty handily last year at Thanksgiving. And I know the Packers last year are better than the Bears this year, but the Packers kicked the shit out of them. So maybe this Lions team just has a Thanksgiving issue. I don't know. Maybe Dan Campbell needs more than 3 days to prepare for it. I don't know. So we'll see how the Bears play, but I'm not expecting anything too special out of Chicago.
We need to check on the moon.
Where is the moon? You know about that a year out.
It has to do with the moon on Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, next up, Giants versus Cowboys. Giants 2-9, Dallas 4-7. I mean, this is the worst game by far on this slate. No major injuries for the Giants. Trayvon Diggs did not practice on Tuesday. Jake Ferguson did not practice on Tuesday. CeeDee Lamb is questionable. I think CeeDee's probably going to play. I think Trayvon Diggs will probably play. I don't think Jake Ferguson's going to play. That's just my opinion, my guess. Just 2 shitty teams. I don't want to get too entranced by the Cowboys beating the Commanders and the Giants just getting the shit kicked out of them by Tampa Bay. I want to these are 2 bad teams still playing each other. I don't want to be biased towards last week's results. So I think the Giants have a chance just because I know Dallas isn't good either. But I don't have the balls to pick them, so I'm going to pick Dallas. I like I said, the Cowboys are bad too. So the Giants, like if they just come out and just start firing Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy pops off, maybe the Giants can win this game. But I think the pass rush for the Cowboys is gonna be too much with Micah Parsons. I think he's gonna just blow up that Giants O-line. And yeah, so I'm gonna pick Dallas.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Dallas too. I mean, Giants are just so much worse, honestly, and they just dropped a huge egg on my face last week, so I'm not trusting them again.
Cannot believe you picked them last week.
I know. It was
So with
crazy.
this,
I was thinking about it halfway through. I was like, God, I'm a fucking idiot.
I could have told you that. So
Mike Evans is back. Yeah, I think they're gonna lose to the Giants.
So with this would be a rare occurrence where Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland are on the same field starting together. Give me the Cowboys.
Okay.
Tommy DeVito's going to get eaten up, dude.
It's Drew Lock.
No, it's DeVito as of right now. But he's injured, so it's up in the air.
Either way,
Dayball said if DeVito's healthy, he's starting, but he might not be healthy. So, Dolphins versus Packers. Miami is 5-6. Green Bay is 8-3. Tyreek Hill didn't practice on Tuesday. Dobbs did not practice on Tuesday either. I think Tyreek will probably play. I don't know about Dobbs. I would say probably not, but we'll see. This one's tough to pick. I don't know who I'm picking yet. Do you either of you know who you're picking?
I know who I'm picking.
Go ahead.
The Dolphins.
Okay. Tell me
picking
why.
the Dolphins. I just think their offense is humming, and I don't think that this will be a blowout by any means by the Dolphins. It would be a very close game, but Waddle.
So you're thinking like 24-6, something like that?
And it's quite a blowout if that's what we're talking about. I just think Jonnu Smith, Jalen Waddle. We always got Tyreek Hill on the field, Devon Achane. Like, they've got so many weapons, and so do the Packers. But what I'm really looking at here is the Dolphins are on a roll.
It's true.
And I think that they have this mentality of they think they're better than the teams that they're playing. And a lot of the times that they are. They beat some good teams in the last few weeks. And I think the Packers will be subject to maybe sleeping a little bit on the Dolphins. I think they tend to do that sometimes. And the Packers, although they just blew out the Niners, we just talked about how the Niners are kind of not the same team we're used to. But the Packers play to their competition. Like, they've been subject to actually playing down or up to their competition. So I think they'll end up playing down to the Dolphins, and the Dolphins will have a chance to win. And there's too many explosive playmakers in that offense to really count them out of any games.
I mean, the Packers did just blow out the 49ers this week, though, too.
I know, but that was without Brock Purdy, and Debo's a shell of himself. And it's just like that whole team is just kind of like, you knew Brandon Allen wasn't going to get out there and beat the Packers. Like, we knew that.
Yeah. Kai?
Yeah, I got my decision. I'm still going to roll with the Packers here. I just think top to bottom, they're a little bit more of a complete team. They're at home in Lambeau in the cold. It's going to be 28 degrees in that game. Miami and Tua specifically doesn't do too hot in cold weather games. I don't think there's any inclement weather or anything, but I got to go with the Packers at Lambeau.
Those are good points. Yeah, the weather might come into factor. I'll go Dolphins as well. Dylan had a pretty good argument there. The offense is humming. The Dolphins defense is very good this year, both rushing and passing. Give me the Dolphins. Yeah, why not? Play some spoiler. Let's play some spoiler, Miami.
I do agree. I think it's going to be a very close game.
This is easily the most interesting game of the slate, including Black Friday too. This is the best game by far. Let's get to Black Friday. Finally, Raiders, Chiefs. Raiders 2-9. Chiefs are 10-1. Trey Tucker questionable. Zamir White and Madison are questionable. Charles Omenihu, who was a full participant on Tuesday, could return. Pacheco will make his return. I think the Chiefs are going to win by like 24 points, something like I don't think this is going to be close. Aiden O'Connell is going to be so rusty. He didn't look good to begin with, and now he hasn't played in like 6 or 7 weeks. playing the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to remember that game where the Raiders completely fucking clowned their asses last year. And I'm sure they're still pissed off about the Muppet thing, even though they had already beaten them this year. I think the Chiefs are going to unleash their wrath against the Raiders. So give me Kansas City.
Yeah, there's not really any ways you can make arguments for the Raiders to really win this game, so it'd be stupid to pick against them. Yeah, give me the Chiefs. Chiefs blowout, honestly.
Yeah, I still remember the whole Muppets thing, dude. I don't sound like Kermit the Frog. I'm gonna get out there and just toss piss missiles. Look up in the air, the ball will be there. Yeah, dude.
Then the Raiders don't even have the firepower to probably beat the Chiefs, although the Chiefs are another team that plays to their competition. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a close game at some point, somewhere around halftime, where the Raiders are kind of hanging around. But I got to tell you, man, this screams Travis Kelce takeover game to me. It screams 2 touchdowns, vintage Travis Kelce performance, like maybe a little shovel pass into the end zone, that kind of thing. Like, we might see the Chiefs offense for the first time function the way that we're used to them. And it would be perfect to have it happen at home on primetime versus the Raiders.
I think, it's probably a good call on Kelce, but I think the receivers were probably, the cornerbacks for the Raiders are so injured right now. Jack Jones is playing, but he's playing with an injury. Obviously, Bennett's out, and so is Nate Hobbs. I don't think that either one of them are supposed to play. I could be wrong. I would expect a big game from DeAndre Hopkins and or Xavier Worthy. I wouldn't be shocked if like Kelce or Noah Gray have good games too, but I definitely think one of those wide receivers is going to hurt the Raiders for sure. All right, we're all in Kansas City. That's it for us. As always, you can find us at Raging Takes everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. You can email us ragingtakes@gmail.com. I'm at Montana Sauce on Twitter. Kai is at RTP Kai, and Dylan is at Such a Wise Fool. And we'll see you guys on Saturday. Happy Thanksgiving.